Hello and welcome to Study with Sudhir. This is your digital classroom and my name is T.S. Sudhir. One good thing that I have noticed among class 9 and 10 students during this lockdown is that a lot of students are actually getting very serious about their academic curriculum. And I know it for a fact because many of the video lessons that we had posted on English grammar, English literature, history, civics, geography, mathematics, they're all getting lots of views, which is an indication that students are in the study mode, and I find that a very encouraging sign. So my compliments to all the class 9 and class 10 students, that is the 2021 batch, right? That's something which you are doing well. If you are focusing on the poems and stories from Treasure Trove from English literature, also Merchant of Venice, which is a very good sign because you obviously do not want to leave it to the fag end, given the fact that 2021 academic year is going to be an extremely disrupted one, right? And while we are on it, and I want to tell this, I got a chance to look at Oswald Book's question bank specifically pertaining to the English 2 syllabus, the English literature syllabus, and I thought this was very comprehensive. It contains lots of questions from both MOV, the Merchant of Venice, and Treasure Trove, 10 stories and 10 poems. It also tells you how to write the perfect answers, and what you will find most useful is that it also contains answers written by toppers, students who may have scored 100 on 100, right? So, and I also know it for a fact that you can actually score 100 on 100 in English literature paper. My daughter Tejaswini scored 100 on 100. So if you are focused, know exactly the right trick to score that kind of a perfect score, you can actually do that in the English literature subjects. The link to order the book is given in the description box. There's also a discount code which you would probably like to use in case if you want to buy this particular book, right? Now let's come to how to actually study English literature. A lot of students have been sending me either email or writing in the comment section on what should be the right approach to study English literature, and they are daunted by Merchant of Venice, Mr. William Shakespeare की भाषा से उनको काफ़ी तकलीफ होती है. So I just want to tell you a few tips on how to approach English literature and get that 100 on 100. Okay. Blue Bead, लंबा story है. A Horse and Two Goats by R.K. Narayan, लंबा story है. So students get a little unnerved by that. Okay. Many students also prefer to listen to a summary of the story in Hindi or any of the native vernacular languages, mother tongue like Tamil ho, Bengali ho, Kannada ho ya Telugu ho. I have no problem with that. My limited problem with trying to understand a story in a different language than English is that it kind of affects your ability to think in English. और इससे होता क्या है कि जब आप when you are writing the answers in the examination hall, your flow of words does not come naturally. You keep thinking in Hindi or in Tamil or in Malayalam and translating it to English. So that is my problem as far as understanding English literature in a different vernacular languages. Okay, that is one point. Number two, when you listen to the explanation in English, what happens is that you keep listening to the words, the expressions used by, say, a teacher like me, subconsciously, without you actually realizing it, all these words, phrases, expressions, keywords all go into your mind without you even realizing it. The mind, as I always say, is like a sponge. It keeps absorbing good things, bad things, right? So it keeps absorbing all these expressions and phrases which you can then use in the answer paper. That's why I say listen to the explanations in English. It will help you that much more and better. Okay, because you will get familiar with a particular way of writing an answer, you know, and that's what you really want in the examination hall. You are not obviously going to write your answer in Hindi or in Malayalam, right? You can always, if there is a particular word which you don't understand, you can always say, okay, इसका मतलब हिंदी में ये है, okay, इसका मतलब तमिल में ये है. You can always understand for a better understanding, but you should also know the meaning of the word in English. That's very important because at the end of the day, we are learning English literature, right? Now, The second tip I want to give you is that, especially with Merchant of Venice or with long stories like The Blue Beard and A Horse and Two Goats, or with slightly complicated poems like The Cold Within or I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, is that don't go into it with a mental block. अरे बहुत लंबा चैप्टर है, अरे ये शेक्सपियर का तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, अरे this poem is very complicated. Don't go into it with a mental block. Very important. Remove the mental block before you start reading the poem or the drama or the story. Okay, think of it as a story. Think of it as just a poem मैं casually पढ़ रहा हूँ या पढ़ रही हूँ. That's your approach. The second reading you kind of get into it deeper. That's what you need to do. First, you just try to understand इसका gist of the story क्या है, especially Merchant of Venice में. You just understand why was Shylock angry with him, why was Antonio doing this to him, what was Bassanio's role, what was Portia's role. You understand the story. एक सारांश story का पढ़ लीजिए, it will make it easier for you. Then you read the story, you read the themes of the story, and this applies both to A Merchant of Venice, even the stories. Read the story, read the themes, read about the characters, ki why this character behaved in a particular manner. That is very important. That should be step 2 of a particular story or the Shakespearean drama. Merchant of Venice को लेके, भाषा को लेकर, don't get paranoid about the language. William Shakespeare obviously wrote in a different era, right? He still remains one of the greatest playwrights the world has seen, which is why even today we read Shakespeare, right? In terms of the depth of characters, Merchant of Venice तो फिर भी simple है. अगर आपको रुचि है, and if you're interested, and if you read plays like King Lear, Macbeth, Hamlet, you will realize, I mean, the characterizations are extremely rich in texture, in the way they have been kind of fleshed out, especially a play like Macbeth. It's my favorite play. It's brilliant, brilliant. Okay. Now, there will be certain words. For instance, Merchant of Venice ke Act 1, Scene 1, pehle page mein, there is a word called argosy. You will think, what is argosy? It's not a word which you normally use. You just need to see the meaning. It's called a merchant ship. Ek baari dekh liya, you will remember it. After that, you will not forget it. Human mind is better than a computer, the fastest MacBook. Now, once you have read a scene, return to it only after 3 to 4 days. 3 to 4 days ke baad you go and see whether you have remembered most of it. Chances are that you will not remember 75% of it. I can give you a guarantee, right? I still remember when the first time when we were reading one of the scenes, the trial scene, for instance, the longest scene in the play, the first time we read it, I and Tejaswini were preparing for it, it took almost 4 to 5 days. The second revision took 3 days. The third revision took 1 day. The fourth revision took 6 hours. The fifth revision took 3 hours. It keeps getting faster and shorter in terms of time. So it's just a matter of reading. So be prepared. Merchant of Venice, each and every scene you will need to do it many times over. Only then you can score that perfect 80 on 80 in the paper. I can tell you that, right? In fact, that was not part of the plan. We did not want Tejaswini to attempt 2 questions from Merchant of Venice. We thought 2 poems, 2 stories and 1 drama. But she was so good by the end of it in Merchant of Venice, she actually attempted 2 questions from MOV, 1 story and 2 poems. That was her breakup, right? So, do this. This is what your mantra should be to tackle the drama, Merchant of Venice. As far as poems are concerned, please remember कि you understand the meanings, the deep meanings, especially in poems like I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, After Blenheim, why is it an anti-war poem, The Cold Within, the human aspects of it, poems like Daffodils, stories may, you need to know the different characters in Horse and Two Goats, Blue Beard, Hearts and Hands, Old Man at the Bridge, poems like The Patriot, you know, these are all poems which are a little deep. Now, stories like The Greatest Olympic Prize, it's a simple story, or 9 gold medals, it's a simple poem. But in each poem and each story, there is a particular theme running. तो उस theme पर आप जरूर focus कीजिएगा. That will really help you. That has to be your approach when you're getting into it. ये तो हो गया खास तौर से क्लास 10 स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जिनके लिए कि पूरा सिलेबस है. क्लास 9 के लिए तो आपके पास you have to do only half the syllabus, right? You have to do 5 poems, 5 stories and 2 acts of Merchant of Venice, and I think Act 3 Scene 1. So prepare all this right now so that your burden in English literature in second in 10th class will be 50% less. If you do these 5 poems, 5 stories and half of Merchant of Venice right now very well, trust me, you will do much better in class 10. So what you're doing now is going to all come to your advantage, play to your advantage in February, March 2021. So get started for it right now. That is going to be my advice, right? I hope this session was useful. I wanted to tell you really the tips and the easy way to get started so that you can score, each one of you can score an 100 on 100 in English literature paper. Thank you very much for watching.